A Model S Plaid catastrophe, lying drivers, angry truckers, a boatload of trouble, and a Ram Baam moment? All this and more coming up in episode 252 of Teslacam Stories. Roll 'em!
Bam! Teslacam! I hope you're satisfied!
Shimon took his brand new Model 3 straight to a body shop right after taking delivery to get a ceramic coating applied, an expensive protective measure that did nothing to help him from what happened next. Fewer than 24 hours after taking delivery of his 2024 Model 3 Highland, he was rear-ended by a speeding Mitsubishi Outlander at high speed down a highway. When the police arrived, they questioned both drivers to find out how the crash happened. The Mitsubishi driver told them he'd done nothing wrong, aside from failing to see the car ahead of him, of course. This prompted the police to ask Shimon why he'd been in front of the Mitsubishi. Shimon was so new to his Tesla that he didn't know how to use the Teslacam feature yet. Later, after finding the footage, it proved crucial for the police investigation and his insurance claim. The Mitsubishi driver's insurance provider took full responsibility. Sadly, the Tesla was deemed a total loss, but the other driver's insurance coverage maxed out at $25,000 US. In the end, Shimon's own insurance coverage had to cover the rest. Michael told us he was hauling some hazardous waste in the backseat of his Model S Plaid. As he merged onto a highway, he suddenly heard a loud noise behind him. He slammed on his brakes and very narrowly avoided hitting a truck. The truck had been driving recklessly on the shoulder of the road and almost rear-ended Michael's Tesla. Instead, the driver swerved, hitting another truck pulling a trailer in the middle lane and spinning out in front of Michael before colliding with a barrier. Michael made sure everyone was okay and offered copies of his Teslacam footage. He didn't wait for the highway patrol to arrive because the hazardous waste that had been in his back seat was now all over the inside of his Model S Plaid. Yeah, I don't know if I can say anything more than what I already hear you typing in the comments. Who hauls hazardous waste in a Tesla Model S Plaid? Tim was on his way back to work after lunch when he ended up behind a red Honda. Yep, you already know what's about to happen. Roll the jingle.
Jump in! Honda bumped!
Tim stopped while both drivers got out to exchange information. The Honda driver was very apologetic, but the driver of the Audi was furious. Tim told us he was just excited to have his first Honda bump to send in to Wham Baam. Justin's Tesla applied automatic emergency braking when the Honda in front of him came to a sudden stop. The Ram pickup behind Justin didn't have that feature. The Ram wasn't able to stop and slammed into his Tesla in what he calls a Ram Baam. We can't see this in the video, but Justin told us a white Model 3 behind the Ram was able to stop safely, but then it was rear-ended by a Subaru. All four drivers pulled over in a construction zone in the median. Nobody was injured, and the highway patrol was summoned so they could generate a collision report. The damage in the photos doesn't look too bad, but fixing it cost over $27,000 US, plus another $1,600 to replace his paint protection film. The Ram driver was ruled responsible for the collision, so his insurance provider paid for Justin's repairs, which took a month to complete. With that license plate, we're wondering what kind of life the pickup driver could be referring to. Joey was driving home from school in San Diego. There was some traffic, but Joey told us this wasn't out of the ordinary. The driver of a silver Honda merged behind Joey and began tailgating him when traffic slowed down. The Honda driver wasn't maintaining a safe following distance, and when traffic slowed down a second time, say it with me now, Honda bump. Joey's Tesla was completely stopped when the impact of the Honda shoved it forward into a Mustang Mach-E. All involved drivers pulled over to exchange information before Joey went home and made an insurance claim. He told us his insurance provider did a great job handling his claim and arranging to pay over $11,000 US in parts and labor to fix his Tesla. He also wanted to shout out his girlfriend, Maddie. Mario was driving his Model Y down a highway outside of Barcelona when he passed a motorcycle with a rather special passenger riding in the sidecar. Well, that's one way to take your dog for a walk. It looks like the doggo is loving it, and those goggles are probably helping. After SoCal teacher noticed something lying on her windshield, she checked Sentry mode and found this video. The object was a matching Model Y Matchbox car, and the video was of this fine young man who'd left it there. When she flipped it over, she found this note instructing her to go watch Wham Baam Teslacam on YouTube. That's awesome! We have no idea who this guy is, but he's definitely this week's real MVP. This submitter was headed to the gym in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Sadly, not only his muscles needed to be filled up with gains that day, 2 balloons needed to be filled up with hot air. Okay, sorry Wham Baam, maybe that joke works better in Swedish. I don't think it really landed well. The same is true of this balloon, which was headed for a rough landing. Surely that isn't where they'd meant to land, is it? Flying so low over the busy road and power lines seems needlessly dangerous. Carson was on his way to meet a friend for lunch when an oncoming work truck attacked him with a giant paper airplane. Actually, the truck lost its load, sending styrofoam panels gliding perfectly across the road and into the path of Carson's Model Y. There were some light scratches and marks left on his car, but thankfully, Carson was able to buff them out. Nathan had rented a Tesla Model X for the day and was taking his parents to enjoy some scenic views of Utah Lake. When they arrived at the harbor, they saw some people getting ready to take a sailboat onto the lake, so Nathan decided to follow and watch them launch it onto the water. Sadly, the boat didn't quite make it. The sailboat's mast made contact with some overhead tree branches, snapping it like a twig. Nathan remembered that Teslas are able to save dashcam videos, so he quickly found and tapped the button on the screen to save the footage. He spoke with the boat owners, offering them a copy of his Teslacam footage for their insurance claim. He even managed to get their blessing to send his footage to Wham Baam. With a boat name like this, they're either funny guys or terrible boaters, considering they're already on their second unsinkable boat. Hopefully they've gotten their mast all fixed up and are now enjoying a wonderful summer on the lake. Nathan wanted to shout out his little brothers, Owen and Alex. Tanner was driving his Model 3 when... Wait, what was that? Are we getting seasick or something? Nope, that really is an amphibious car passing Tanner. Tanner told us he thought it looked like SpongeBob's boatmobile, and he had to park to check his Teslacam footage to see if he'd just imagined it. Chris could have used a boatmobile when he encountered flash floods and high winds during his evening commute. Other drivers had slowed down to drive through standing water, and when it came to his turn, a semi-truck with an oversized load came barreling down the emergency lane and nearly flooded his Model Y. Chris told us he didn't even realize where the water was coming from until the trucker got back into a legal lane. I'd say rolling floodwaters are definitely an escalation over rolling coal. Tim was sitting at a red light when he watched an SUV driver floor it through his own red light before getting a steaming helping of instant justice. The SUV was pulled over by the police while Tim just smiled. Vasil was driving behind a pickup that was hauling a tree when it suddenly was no longer hauling a tree. Is this the same guy from the sailboat video we saw earlier? I guess this is payback for what that tree did to his mast. Honestly, we feel bad for that boat owner. Maybe seeing the beating the trees in this video are taking will help him feel better. Simon's Tesla captured the devastation of a storm hitting Grover Beach. This camera was pointed at City Hall and the police department when the storm rolled through. There was a lot of damage done to vehicles and other property, but thankfully we didn't find any reports of anyone being hurt. If you want to see more storm videos, check out this episode featuring a hero who ran to save a Tesla on a particularly windy day. Or check out this episode from when a Tesla got caught in the middle of a tornado.